And so how would that conversation look and feel different from kind of the legal and scientific narrative that we have around the river today?
Well, I mean, if you look at the policy side of water, it hasn't changed for almost 2 centuries now. There needs to be a whole reorganization of how we're managing water because it's changing. And the river has always been changing. We, humans, we've definitely drastically changed the physical characteristics and the hydrologic characteristics of the river. And so now, being that, again, we're facing severe climate crisis, we have to then think drastically about how we're going to change the policy around it. And historically, science and policy haven't always worked together. I think that now there are beginning to be more conversations about how science can also be that political tool, and it can have some criticism and context on how to inform policy management strategies, but it's very political, and the political climate of water and even just the way we manage natural resources, again, is a male-dominated field. And, you know, we're seeing more and more women and femmes and thems entering, you know, a lot of these water, environment, natural resources, you know, policy conversations, because something has to happen, and there needs to be access in order for people like me to enter into those conversations, because, you know, we bring creativity, we bring innovation, we bring perspective, and it's time that there's some change, you know, happening around how we're managing our environment.
So we're talking now in early September, and the Rio Grande, in the middle Rio Grande through Albuquerque, looks terrible. It's at a record low, and for a record number of days. And farmers are having irrigation water cut off. Cities have had to stop drawing water from the river. Like, clearly, there are big changes happening, and we need to adapt and change in how we treat our river, how we rely on it. I'm curious what types of changes, like, you envision, or even like just like dream could happen in the coming decades.
Well, I mean, before there was a lot of U.S. Western policy, water was really managed on a communal level. Even the way Sequia communities manage their water, it was very communal, it was consensus-based, same thing with the Pueblos. And, you know, there's not really a lot of community participation. And unfortunately, we also manage water in a very market-based system. So how can we use water to the best beneficial use that's going to, you know, that's going to bring in revenue, that's going to turn a profit? And, you know, there's a lot of eyes on the agricultural sector. Unfortunately, small traditional agricultural and water users are also lumped into that big agro sector. And it's kind of like picking them off, you know, like water agencies are trying to buy water rights and buy farms, you know, and the smaller agricultural operations, you know, they contribute a lot to community capital, and, you know, this whole fish versus farm thing needs to go because, you know, it kicks back to the Rio anyway, so it provides other ecological benefits, and it's using water to sustain, it's using water to, you know, kind of just operate something real small. But, you know, we have, you know, acre feet of water going to the Imperial Valley, you know, these big agro operations like in Southern California, and, you know, we're seeing rising temperatures, and so it's actually not really helping us. And, you know, we live in an economy where we you know, produce for surplus, and a lot of it is wasted. And so, you know, if we think more about how we're changing community dynamics, economic dynamics, and include communities and traditional water users. I think they could really impact how we're managing water. But in terms of like what I dream, it really depends on what the community wants, you know? It really has to come from like a bottom-up type of system. Everybody's water use is different. Everybody's access to water is different, you know? You may have a community that gets this amount of water and this community upstream that gets this amount of water, you know? So you really have to work on like those small localized and regionalized issues. So I don't know what the big end goal would be, but I guess essentially it would be we need to manage water a bit more equitably and consider the climate stressors, you know. We're also seeing an increase in urbanization. I mean, what is that going to do to our groundwater aquifers? We're facing oil and gas here in the state. That's a huge strain on our groundwater resources. Now we're even seeing cannabis coming into the state. What is that going to look for our lands and water resources as well? So, you know, that's why I just really emphasize on community participation, because they are the ones that would come up with the best solutions.